Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the KeSPA Cup 2020. It is me, Valdez, with Wolf today once again, and we're getting into our second semifinals today. We got KT Rolster up against NONGSHIM Red Force in one best of 5 to see who is going to go up against Dom1 Gaming in the finals.
Yeah, we saw a lot of really interesting stuff in our last series. We got to see the Kog'Maw Lulu come out. We also got to see Yone, who's actually rising up pretty quickly through the mid-priority, actually, but, you know, obviously in certain compositions only, and there's a lot of asterisks attached. He'll probably sneak his way into this series as well at some point. If you're Chovy.
Maybe you can play.
Yeah, if you're Chovy, you're allowed, right?
Yeah.
This series could be really good. It also could be one-sided with NONGSHIM taking it, but KT Rolster's kind of consistent in terms of their wins in the group stage is not necessarily indicative of the consistency in their play. They had a few games they were able to kind of steal away in that group stage, and they also played both their main roster and their second roster. But today I think they're going to be sticking with the main roster.
Yeah, I think this is where teams begin to say, hey, there's actually a lot on the line. Let's see exactly how far we can go, how much money we can make as well. Certainly a big prize pool here for the KeSPA Cup. Even if you get second, I think it's 20,000, so not bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
For just, you know, week-long tournament, essentially, as we are taking a look at some of this that we do have here, the overview, some of what I was talking about, the prize pool down here. We only have 3 teams left to potentially make it to the final that is happening not tomorrow.
Yeah, it's on the 2nd of January, which will be a Saturday.
Yeah.
It's 5 p.m., so same time, same place, different date.
We had 7 days in a row and then just one day that got pushed to Saturday.
Yep.
Just to make sure we get as many people watching as possible, of course.
And also to, you know, make sure the teams have time to prepare for that best of 5, which will be very exciting to see how that goes. And obviously, we already have Dom1 Gaming in the final. We're going to find out who joins them tonight. That's what this bracket is going to showcase as to how we got here. There's obviously KT Rolster and NONGSHIM fight in the second part of the semifinals.
Yes.
Here.
That is true. Dom1 yesterday, they took out Homolife Esports 3-1. Chovy, we were talking about Yone. He played 1 game of Yone, and then it got banned after that. And that's after he had a 3-man ultimate into bullet time, into essentially carrying his team to the victory in their one win that they did have against Dom1, which I was actually predicting the 3-0, but because of Chovy, they were able to actually net themselves a win there. But still, Dom1 did make it, and it'll be between these 2 teams to see who is going to make it into the finals. KT Rolster up against NONGSHIM Red Force. And we were talking about how Group B did look much weaker, actually, than Group A. So we'll see how KT does, even coming through with the 4-0, getting that bye into the semifinals. Will they still be able to take out NONGSHIM easily, or will it be a close best of 5 matchup here?
That is the question, as we're going to take a look at KT Rolster's starting roster for this best of 5. It will be the roster you've come to expect, the main roster with Hybrid in over Noah, Zeus in over Rebel, and everyone else that you'd imagine you'd see. Doran, Bonnie, Yukal. Not going to be seeing sub-jungle here. Probably won't see any more subs for the rest of the series, with the exception of, I feel, maybe Rebel, potentially. I think he's had the best performance of the subs so far. That's my opinion, but I think he's looked really, really good on Alistar. It's been the champion he's played only twice. Obviously, it's the only champion he's played, but if they want to run a comp like that, they might swap it up.
Yeah, and that's kind of the meta right now for supports. A lot of Alistar, a lot of Leona, a lot of Maokai, and all that good stuff. It's not very diverse down on the bottom side. It's a lot of tanks and just trying to survive down there in the bottom side. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting roster. I'm not sure that many people expected them to get out of their group in first, but especially Homolife dropping that 1 game did mean that KT Rolster got the first place.
That's right, and they were best of 1, so you can't sneak those through. As we see, NONGSHIM Red Force's starting roster will be as it has been throughout the entire tournament. They have no subs actually officially listed for this tournament, so Here you go, Rich, Peanut, Bay, Duck Dom, and Kellen. Kellen has actually had the most diverse support pool that we have in this tournament. He played Taric in that first game against Dom1. He's played Rakan twice. He's played Nautilus and Thresh, so definitely something to look out for in the draft. On paper, it feels like this team is the more well-rounded team. They've made a lot of really good macro decisions throughout this tournament. Rich has turned a lot of losing lanes into winning plays on the map outside of the lane. And I think they definitely are the favorites going into the series, but it's not a clear favoritism, right, that we have. We've seen a lot more NONGSHIM as well, because they did have to play that semifinal series to get here. So they reveal a little bit more of their colors. KT's only played those 4 games, so there's a lot to learn, I think, in this series between these two squads, for sure.
Yeah, NONGSHIM just barely able to push by Live Sandbox to make it into the finals, or rather the semifinals, I should say. And it looks like we're just about ready to hop into pick ban here, so just cruising along here at the KeSPA Cup.
Surfing into this final semifinal.
Paragliding into this one. As we sail on in, we got Graves banned first, and if you watched yesterday,
If you watched the tournament, he's 8-3, highest win rate at the moment with multiple games played. He's kind of been blue priority pick very early on as well. Pantheon ban comes through here. This is going to mean that KT is going to have to take a different route outside of the usual first pick blue side Graves jungle, because they banned it themselves. So it's kind of an unusual situation here with that Graves actually coming in as a blue side ban. We'll see where their priority lies here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. KeSPA first pick here. Now, they did have MF available as well, who has been pretty popular in this tournament, but they decide, okay, let's go with the KeSPA. That can tell you a little bit about what they are thinking of drafting in terms of a composition, rather, something that can go in and create a lot of hard CC for the KeSPA to engage.
Yeah, for sure. Aatrox left open for Rich, so of course he's going to take that opportunity. And for NONGSHIM so far, the red side has usually been a top lane choice, and the jungle for Peanut, actually, in the first 2 picks. And Peanut's played a lot of Hecarim, but doesn't really make sense to prioritize it this highly at this stage with Graves banned here. So I think they're giving some consideration to this one. And I'll take the Leona pick as well instead here. Be the 3rd time Kellen plays it in this tournament with his really big support pool. And Talia left open here, so Bonnie wants to take this one early, looked like, potentially. Bonnie played Nidalee, had an incredible game of Nidalee early on in the tournament. Likes to play really aggressive junglers. Also played Elise, that one weird game from the group stage that you remember.
Yeah, and Alistair seems like the obvious pick here.
Yeah.
Good into the Leona, and as we were saying, Leona, Alistair, those are the 2 most popular support picks right now, I guess, with Maokai coming in as 3rd. Considering an Orianna here for Bay. He has played a lot of Orianna, and will hop back onto that here.
Yeah, it's basically been Orianna and Syndra in mid every time throughout this tournament, but with Bay picking it up here, they can remove that pick for KT. It's a pick that works well with the Talia that we have in the jungle for Bonnie. It's not 100% required, and we've seen a lot of Victor, actually, in fact, from UCal. 2 games of Victor. He's the only person who's played it in the tournament. There's a Yone ban. Works well with a lot of AP junglers that we're seeing, and Talia kind of fits the bill with that, so pretty safe ban here. I don't think the Victor makes sense with this pick, though. I think that we'll be avoiding that one.
Yeah, potentially. We'll have to see what they decide to go for in the top lane as well. Maybe if they go for something like a Jace, they could even out their damage portfolio, if you will.
Sure.
Olaf is going to be taken away. Olaf and Aatrox together, kind of fun to watch. They both get the Gore Drinker, and they just run straight at you and try to just skirmish without dying, without, just life-stealing a bunch.
Makes Bonnie's life very difficult if that's the case. And there's the Jace ban you were talking about. Well, the Jace removed. You were talking about Jace. You were talking about the ban specifically. But they were on the same mindset.
Same idea.
With you.
Yeah.
Same concept as why they're like, do we have comms open on the cast right now? It's not fair.
They're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. We should ban the Jace. I agree. Hecarim taken away from Peanut. You were mentioning that one as well. They're trying to ban away Peanut as much as possible. They'd rather deal with Duckdom on higher tier AD carries than Peanut on higher tier junglers.
He's played the Kindred as well as Echo as well in these situations where he didn't get that jungle priority pick and was banned in the second ban phase away, as Duckdom will pick up Aphelios here. He's actually shown a really wide range of AD carries, but they're highlighting the Victor here again. This is actually, UCal would be his third time in a row picking it if he does play it here. I mean, it works well for that damage portfolio idea you're talking about. He becomes kind of a hybrid mid laner, and he has, the Lich Bane to kind of help him explode through that mid game. Duckdom's Aphelios got tons of value when teams failed to deal with his lane swaps, and he just switched to turret destroying mode.
Yeah, we saw that the one time from, I think, Afrika, where Keen just left the turret open, and Duckdom's like, okay, thank you very much. I guess I'll take that. That's
Nidalee to round things out here, actually. Kind of unusual Nidalee pick because it's usually seen with a more tanky top laner and an AD mid so far in this tournament. Like we've seen it with Renekton, especially, a lot of these games when Nidalee does come through. But Aatrox can be pretty tanky himself, and obviously with Gore Drinker, be some extra survivability. Works well with Aphelios.
Yeah, I mean, you would want something, potentially that has some gank assist in either the mid or the top lane. They don't have too much of that. Maybe if Rich could bait Doran into a fight, they could go for that. But Peanut going to be doing his thing more so, focusing on his own jungle and maybe counter-jungling out Bonnie, I would assume, with this final pick here.
Yeah. Also, it's pretty safe into the Victor if you want to make some plays in the mid lane. So not an oppressive jungler, or excuse me, oppressive mid laner that can stun you or lock you up very easily if you are trying to make those picks happen. The gravity slow there isn't probably going to be an issue that Nidalee has to deal with at all. So pretty safe pick. Other option would have been Echo maybe, I suppose, for him.
Yeah, could have gone for the Echo. Maybe he wanted to go for this Nidalee here in game one. I would believe it's something that he is much more comfortable with at this current stage in his career. Peanut played a lot of Nidalee. And yeah, definitely a lot of comfort for the side of NONGSHIM. Everybody's kind of on stuff that they really like to play, so they've got that going for them.
Could say the same about KT as well, though, with UCal only playing Victor in this tournament. He gets it the third time with an AP jungler. It all makes sense here. These are these two teams going head-to-head with what they like to play right out of the gates here in Game 1.
Yeah, and it looks like that Game 1 is ready to go, so let's hop onto the Rift here for Game number 1 of the best-of-5 between KT Rolster and NONGSHIM Red Force. Here we go, on to the Rift, as once again, UCal playing that Victor. I believe he has played it more than anyone else.
Yeah, he's the only one who's played Victor, actually, in this tournament.
Wow.
It's been banned a few times, especially with Nidalee jungle, actually, but it was the Talia this time. I mentioned this when I was casting with Max the other day, but there's been a lot of discussion on the Korean side that if you have an AP jungler, that your mid should always be an AD or an AD sort of hybrid, and Victor kind of fits that role pretty well, and then also so does Yone, which is why he ends up, well, he's not a hybrid, but he's an AD and fits that pretty well, so has been kind of coming in with a lot of these AP junglers we're seeing. This is not going to be an easy game for UCal, I don't think, though, against the very meta Orianna, with Rich going to be having a decent time in this lane, and will be able to rotate down, not to mention they have Peanut on Nidalee, so going to be kind of a scary game, I think, for UCal overall. Probably have to play pretty safe.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We've seen just so many control mage matchups in this tournament. It's almost like the teams here in the KeSPA Cup, they figured it out. Like, okay, this is the meta, and they're too scared to deviate from it. And everybody's going to play tank support, and everybody's going to play control mage mid lanes. The top lane consists of about, 6 or 7 different champions, but there hasn't been all that much diversity, I'd say, yet in the KeSPA Cup. I think once we get to LCK time and, teams get used to the patches and they get used to figuring out, like, oh, we can, maneuver this way, pick a different pick here to deal with something that is very meta, then we're going to get to see a little bit more diversity. But for now, it's been kind of stale, to be honest.
Yeah,
I feel like the
it really
KeSPA
has.
Cup has just been a lot of the same picks here.
Yeah, I mean, minus some crazy games like the Kog'Maw we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I tend to agree as well. And we've seen this KeSPA pick that Hybrid has picked here. He's been, we've called him a hyper carry AD. A lot of people have because he's plays for the late game oftentimes. So you're going to see Bonnie consider surfing into the mid lane here, but decides better of it. But he's played this champion a few times, and now this is the KeSPA that has a lot of support and a lot of ways to lock people down. So in those late game team fights, she can be very valuable. But the problem with KeSPA versus a lot of the other ADs, in this tournament is that her itemization is very slow. Like, it takes her a long time to really hit her power spikes. And a lot of times games are essentially decided in this tournament before that happens.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think she also kind of struggles with some of the range matchups in the bottom lane, just speaking for the lane. As we do get an engage here, actually, Duckdom is going to have to flash away. He's ticking down with that Ignite, and no follow-up flash from Hybrid. I feel like he could have maybe flash queued in there, but with heals still available, he says, let's get the easy win. We don't have to get the kill. We're also, with this priority, going to lock down both Scuttle Crabs. So the second Scuttle Crab going to Bonnie as well. So just big wins across the board there for KT on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just a really nice rotation from Bonnie. Comes in, and I think that's part of why you see Hybrid stay, because if he does flash forward and the heal comes out and he's a little bit out of range, then that becomes a little bit of a scarier fight there in the around that second Scuttle. But yeah, KeSPA, if Hybrid had gotten the kill there, would feel a lot safer, a lot better about that path to, especially with First Blood, to those items being completed. She's actually sitting at a 5-10 win rate at the moment. She's been picked so much.
Wait, KeSPA's been picked 15 times in this tournament?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh my God.
I checked that earlier because I was like, I couldn't believe the number either when I saw it.
Yeah.
Someone was
Is she the
tweeting
most
about it.
picked?
Right now, let me check. In the bot lane, yes. I don't know about out of everything else.
No KeSPA jungles yet. Don't think we'll be seeing those. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy. 15 games.
Yeah, I can't say if other
KeSPA
laners had been picked more or less because I don't have their exact numbers written down, but of all the bot lanes, second most popular is Misfortune at 12. A lot of Misfortune in the group stage.
Yeah, that would have been the pick that I would have expected, actually, to be most picked. The Misfortune, because we have seen an incredible amount of that here in this tournament. This is why I was a little bit surprised to see the KeSPA priority over the MF, but I suppose it is Hybrid after all.
There were a few games where Samira was left open, and we might actually have a engage here.
Oh, the flash comes in, and that is what Talia loves. Some gank assist, you follow up, you flash stun, and there's really not much hope for Rich. I mean, he doesn't even have time to flash away. And with only the phage, I'm not even sure if he had actually bought that yet because his teleport is still up. So I think he had no items.
I don't
and just
think he
bought
had
it there after he died. So super squishy, and they're just able to pop him like a balloon after Talia gets her first buy.
Yeah, I mean, with Talia just being unseen there and getting the knockback, I don't even know if the phage saves him there. I don't think so.
Yeah.
He's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Yukao actually ulted a wave earlier. That's the kind of time he's having here, kind of going back to what I was saying before. It's not easy being a victor in this this matchup, also with the jungler that's up against you.
He might have just, right before teleporting, or rather recalling back, maybe just ult the wave.
Yeah.
Because he was pretty low on mana, and I think they had already gone for a buy, just looking at their teleport cooldown. So he's probably struggling there, just threw out the ult to clear the wave, and then
that makes sense.
Get a good back and TP back on time. So he's doing okay. He's hanging in there with Bay. They're both kind of going even right now in the farm. Looks like Bay is waiting for a wave to come into him to even that up. But now Bonnie, with his first successful gank, this time he is going to be spotted. a very smart idea from the side of NONGSHIM, but a lot of pressure down in the bottom lane that Peanut is not here to help relieve.
Yeah, this is actually really frustrating to deal with for Duckdom and Kellen. They'll lose a plate, and there's not much they can do except just sit and obviously CS that under the turret. Not terrible for them, but nice lead here for Hybrid. And this is leading towards that late game path. So Rich will get the better of this trade.
Yeah. Doran with very defensive itemization early on. The Executioner's Calling and the plated armor caps just says, I want to survive and I want to deny you some healing. And basically just making the trades as good as possible for the Renekton here before he gets his first item, the Gore Drink.
Yeah.
As okay, getting here
going
onto Bay, trying to force that flash with the Chaos Storm getting in there, but will not be successful in getting that cooldown away. But he still wins the trade in terms of damage and is feeling pretty good about his position here.
Yeah, now he's starting to look a lot more comfortable. Just a little bit out of range of his Q and hasn't upgraded that yet, so. Taking his time. This is a pretty aggressive engage from Kellen.
Yeah, he does this sometimes where he's like, I'm going in. You can't stop me.
Yeah. All right.
Sometimes it looks good.
I mean,
other times it's like, huh, well.
Guaranteed that he got the cannon minion with the support item there. So the shoulder guard. So I guess guaranteed he got those words online. Just gonna back right now and fill those up. You know, always looking for the positives.
Yeah, there you go. Strats. Big time strats here.
Yeah, this Grievous Wounds build here with the, what you said it was Executioner's Calling, is that what it's called? I believe.
I mean, that's what it used to be called. I think it has the same name.
I think so. I think so too. I just want to make sure I wasn't wrong on that. But anyway, that's kind of been standard versus these Aatroxes nowadays, and the fact that Doran got that first kill and is able to build that quickly with the plated steel caps means he's pretty comfortable right now. And look at this, he's actually going to use that to set this up.
Yeah, he's got Talia coming in. They're going to force that flash away from Rich, and he's just kind of being bullied up here on the top side. But keep in mind that they do not get the kill. They're going to put a lot of pressure here, and the Rift Herald is available for Bonnie. This is how Talia can kind of be obnoxious. Just poke you out. Is going to miss the seismic shove.
Rich is in trouble, I think. Okay, the shove misses.
The red buff is very oppressive, but with the Renekton not really able to get there. Looks like they're not even going to drop down the Rift Herald. So I thought they would just put it down, give those plates over to the side of Doran at least. But he's going to wait. He's going to go back, buy some items, and go straight back to the top lane and look to drop it then.
Yep. So if the shove hits there, I think Rich might actually die. So that was really scary.
For sure.
But he's massively ahead right now, Doran is, so you can actually try to bait Rich into some of these fights. And I do like that Bonnie's kind of been his sidekick in this way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best lane, essentially, for the Talia to gank. Second to the, or rather, I suppose the second best would be the bottom lane. He hasn't really looked down in the bottom side, but certainly you can set up some really nice ganks with the Alistair down there and with the Kai'Sa for the, some of the best AD carry follow-up with hard CC. You could definitely look for some kills there, but really trying to push the issue up on the top side.
Yeah, they really are. And, I mean, you give Rich Aatrox, and then you play it around it like this. Doesn't feel so scary anymore, at least at the moment. Especially because, again...
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Oh, here comes you, Cal, too.
I mean, this has kind of been the story of Rich through the group stage, actually. It's just everyone is always trying to play into him. They actually have no vision of this. He has no idea.
Flash here for Alistair. He's dead meat. But, okay, flash here is good from you, Cal. That is perfect. If he didn't flash there, he's probably dead, as Rich is like, wait, what?
I think he knows, but it's...
Why is everybody here? I guess I'm just dead.
He should have known. Like, he waited so long, too. I felt like he had an idea, and it was almost like he was like, well, if they haven't gone by now... Because he was standing a little bit away from the turret there. He didn't know they were in that brush necessarily, but he should have known based on where his team was and where they pathed to the mid lane to UCal that there should have been some question mark pings and some question marks going off in the brain about where the rest of KT was.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, it's question marks. Like, you can't know 100%, but at the same time, it's like, you don't have flash. You've been camped this entire game. I think some safer play is in order, and I do agree. Maybe just trying to sit a little bit farther under your turret. He was next to his turret, but that's not good enough against Renekton, Alistar, Taliyah. Even if Alistar wasn't there, I think still there was potential with the flash down on the Aatrox to go down. And now you look at the top lane, I mean, Renekton's probably more than 1,000 gold ahead at this point. He got all those plates split between him and the Taliyah with the Rift Herald that comes in. He's up, 40 CS right now. And they got the first blood turret. Things are only looking good right now on the top side of the map for KT.
Certainly. And everywhere else on the map, I mean, things are pretty good too. There was, the Scuttlety being taken early meant that Hybrid was able to farm really easily, really freely in the bot lane, winning that trade that we had massively in the favor of KT earlier on in that bot lane. It's been pretty safe and fine for Victor. Peanut hasn't really been able to find anything, as we're going to watch this again. When he walks forward like this and walks back, that's when I thought, okay, he knows. Then he went for the Q, and, well, he definitely didn't know they were in the bush. That we know that much for sure.
Yeah. But the wave is in the mid portion of the lane, and the Renekton is running straight at you, and you're under your turret. It does look pretty suspicious. You got to be careful. He got kind of caught with his pants down there, unfortunately.
Yeah, no flash like you mentioned earlier. If you have a flash there, it's like you can try to Q there and see what you get, see what you can trade. And
yeah.
Also, especially after their mid attempted gank onto UCal, that pressure there failed. Like, time to be safe. Not going to trade anything for that.
And, Taliyah's been very active, set up the first blood on the top side, looked for a dive down on the bottom side, netting an extra plate, looked for a follow-up gank, 2 follow-up ganks in the top side that netted another kill and a turret, and I'm sure, some people are asking, well, where has Peanut been? Where's the enemy jungle here? Well, he has 122 CS,
yeah.
And he did get the Infernal Drake, so it's kind of like that solo queue-esque feel where your top lane gets, camped, but your jungle is getting so many objectives and so much farm, so, it doesn't feel terrible, but at the same time, it's not the best feel.
Yeah.
Because, now your top laner's kind of out of the game for a while, even though it feels like, Peanut has been getting a lot of good stuff done in this game. It hasn't been as obvious.
Yeah, and, not to mention that all the double assist gold that Bonnie has is definitely going to make up for some of the lost farm. Night Harvester is done for Peanut now, so definitely going to be really relevant in this upcoming fight. UCal is in trouble.
Yeah, trying to get there on the UCal. There is going to be that last hit from Rich as a nice little ultimate going to delay, but here comes the KeSPA jumping in, but is incredibly low. It's going to go down at the end of it, and this is an amazing fight for NONGSHIM. They open up in the enemy jungle. They're going to take down 4 for 0. As only Doran will survive at the end of this. They'll pick up another Drake, and all of a sudden, this game is opened wide open.
Yeah, wide open now after this one as UCal gets caught early in the fight, doesn't have flash, and things just go from bad to worse from there. And Peanut's in a really nice spot, too, as he comes in for the engage. And they were ready for it, too. This was completely planned. They had vision control of where they were standing, and they were grouped up around this Infernal Drake. They wanted to catch KT with their pants down. Look at where they're all standing here with the ward control and vision control they have right here. And you can see, this is what the Korean Observer is showing you. KT just really has no idea. Solar Flare goes out onto UCal, and he's collapsed on instantly. The teleport comes in, but it's way too late for Doran to be relevant. If he's here at the beginning of this fight, maybe he can help heal. Maybe the fight goes a different way. But as it turns out, at the end of the day, not so much, as Kellen is just on the chase here, making sure Zeus does not get out. Doran's like, I couldn't teleport any faster, sorry.
Yeah, we have Lee Sin Syndrome. Lee Syndrome. I don't know why. I just like ruined the idea behind that phrase.
That was a wolf. That was a wolf
fell
bomb
swoop.
right there.
Yeah. Lee Syndrome. But you also got KeSPA Syndrome, I suppose, because it was 4v5, and Hybrid's like, we're doing this. He just ults in, and by the way, your Renekton and Taliyah, the 2 people that got pretty fed early on in this game. Look at this. This is hilarious. Just waiting for the Q so that Doran can last hit it. But yeah, I mean, your Renekton and your Taliyah got denied by a really nice shockwave from Bay that wasn't really obvious because they got knocked up into the wall, so they didn't actually move much. But they were actually delayed for like 3-4 seconds in that fight. So it was essentially just Hybrid and I think Zeus just diving into the back line and getting ripped to shreds when they do it. Trying to make something of a fight that they had kind of already lost, you know.
Yeah, and it feels desperate, and maybe you think, okay, UCal is kind of a lost cause. We can maybe turn this around. Because Zeus was positioned pretty far forward to actually try to help set that up, but the Shockwave is good, as you mentioned, and you don't want to give up that second Drake if you can help it. You are ahead in the game until that moment, right? Not anymore, obviously. But yeah, it's just some bad judgment there, I think, overall, about the vision and from Hybrid going in. We've been a little bit of that, the Lee syndrome, as you called it, with the KeSPAs. Again, 5 and 10, so that's not so good so far here.
There's a nice spear to the face there. And yeah, as you mentioned it, you know, KT at this moment in time, they're no longer really in the driver's seat in this game. Yes, they do have a slight gold lead, but 2 drinks are easily going to be able to make up the difference in
100%.
terms of the golds that NONGSHIM are down. And it'll be interesting to see where these teams end up when it comes to the later stages of the game, because, you know, yes, the KeSPA can get fed on like 3-4 items and do some crazy stuff, but Mr. 200 years on the opposite side,
Yeah.
Dum could certainly have some fun himself in the late game.
Certainly will, I imagine. At least in the late mid game, we're only a few minutes away from. He's got that 2-0-1 Gale Force completed. Kraken Slayer on the side of Hybrid. He's kind of been the standard KeSPA pick in this tournament. But we do see, some different KeSPA builds where it's not always the Mythic you see first, but will be in this case.
No Mana Moon
not
from the KeSPA this time around.
The Mana Moon first is why it takes her so long to get to that big power spike, actually.
Yep.
But you feel like you need it oftentimes. But I actually like doing it this way. It feels like you just don't miss that like 5 minutes of relevancy that building the Mana Moon first costs you. Like, she can actually fight, as long as she doesn't jump into the last team fight in the Shockwave. She can fight.
Well, yeah. Helps not to go in 1v3, as it was, essentially, when she did jump in that last one. And it is Ocean Soul.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see if NONGSHIM can continue to pick that up. I feel like they're still in a really fantastic spot to hold on to this Dragon Pit area. You can see they're already kind of bustling around this area.
Look at the ward coverage again here as well, too.
Yeah.
So good for Peanut to just chuck spears through.
Oh, they're trying to get onto Doran here as the Shockwave will come in, but Kellen's all alone, and Doran is really tanky. I mean, there was really no follow-up. It was basically just a Shockwave, and
Kellen is just, he will Zenith Blade if anyone's in range, it feels like.
yeah. But it was almost like it felt like it was like a team call. They were like, okay, we're going to go, like he's here.
Rich was so far away, though.
Yeah.
If he's there, they can follow up so much better. I think they have to give this up now.
Well, they're trying to keep them at range. Again, the range of Orianna and... Oh, this is a nice Weaver's Wall. Trying to cut off Bay here. He might have to flash over, but actually he's just safe. They've poked out
Look at the
enough.
damage, yeah.
They've done enough poke damage here to KT to actually deny them entrance into the pit. Now Bonnie's in a really awkward spot. He might just die. He's going to get that stopwatch down, but here comes the follow-up from Mr. 200 Years, able to get some damage done. Nice try on the spear there from Peanut, as now he's trying to get in, but with the TP coming in now, Doran look to turn this fight around. As Duckdom gonna Gale Force here, trying to keep this one alive for NONGSHIM, as in goes Hybrid, gonna pick up that kill.
Flashes away, too. He's going to be totally fine here. Now Doran wants to trick him in the wall here.
Oh man, they're going way too far. At least he's able to trade that kill, but that could have been much worse for the side of NONGSHIM chasing for that one. As Doran TPing back into the fight. What is going on here? That was a big mistake.
Well, this is where Renekton can actually stay relevant the whole game, is if he does near a Flame Horizon, has 3 kills, including that first blood, the first 2 kills of the game. And
First blood turret.
Yes.
All the plates.
Yep.
3, 0, and 4. Yeah.
Well, look at this is actually a huge overextension by Kellen. The rest of the team is walking away, but it was the kind of walk away that does kind of go back to what you were saying, is maybe this was a team call to engage, and then they were like, ooh, we might have mistimed that. And then you see the really nice stopwatch here from Bonnie. So the damage comes out. It does get traded in the end, but UCal does massive amounts of damage in that choke. Does walk out here, and you can see Doran is like, okay, well, it's my turn to have fun now. And yeah, it's a really extended fight where Hybrid goes forward, flashes over the wall. Doran wants to trade one more time. The vision control here is really nice.
They saw him go over the wall.
Yeah.
At least it looked that way.
They should have known.
Yeah.
That's hard. It's hard to say without watching it again.
You're going up against level 14 Renekton with about 5 bajillion kills and golds.
Red dot syndrome.
Yeah, you can't can't just sit under your turret. It's not going to save you here 23 minutes into the game, unfortunately, for our sad and squishy Aphelios.
Well, I feel like this game is really really started to feel very KT favored, despite the crazy fight that, you know, put us at 8 to 7 kills here. But when KT is really controlling the scope of how these engagements are going, and the Renekton just feels unkillable, because his damage output is insane at this stage.
Yeah.
He's just building tank gear as well.
He's going to have a Spirit Visage here in a moment.
And that's when it's like, can anyone deal with him?
Probably not. I mean, you know, Duck Dom is pretty fed. He's going to have to do the majority of the 80 damage, essentially. The attack damage, if you will. To try to burst through, you know, there's not that much armor on the side of the Renekton, but he's so far ahead. He's level 15, and, you know, you're only so fed here on the Aphelios. It's going to be difficult because I feel like Bay, at this moment in time, he's got pretty much no penetration. Yeah, you can deal with a lot of the health from the Renekton, but he's not really going to do sustained critical damage to the Renekton. It's going to be life-stealing. It's going to have to be up to the 80 carry at this point. I don't know if he is fed enough to actually handle the Renekton, who is just a juggernaut at this moment in time.
Yeah, that's the question. They're going to look for the Baron play right now, and oh, Kellen's going to be xenoblading into this one.
You know he is.
They're just totally denied here by Zeus, excuse me.
Yeah. Well, Zeus is dead, at least. They got him.
I mean,
a worthy sacrifice.
Yeah, guarantees the Baron. They got the quick Baron buff recall. Bonnie is a little bit greedy there, but we'll be fine. He needed that extra gold.
Doing Talia things. You know, he wanted to make sure he could secure it for his team, at least, after having to give up the entire jungle. Now, they could go for this dragon. It'll be interesting to see if NONGSHIM can try to stop this one.
It's a really nice top wave push, but it's not incredibly threatening. It's going to be... I was going to say, I'm like, this is not going to be the replay we wanted to see.
What
like,
was that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was like, did he, like, Killer Instinct from, like, really far away or something? Like, I was like, what happened?
I don't remember this.
I think that was just live in the replay screen by accident. But I wanted to mention, if KT actually gets the big Drake swing back, it's going to be like, can anyone kill Doran ever? He's going to be it's such a good Drake for him to get 4 times if he does. I don't know if the game's going to go quite that long, but...
Okay, they're just going to set up the wall. And it doesn't last as long as it used to, so it's going to come down here, and they haven't been able to burst down the dragon yet. Here comes Rich, but he's like, nope, it's Doran.
Out as fast as he went in.
Yeah, trying to steal, and actually, Peanut comes in with the steal. Classic Peanut does it again. Has a really nice ultimate on the Bonnie, but here they might just want to give Rich up, as everybody on the side of KT is hunting him down. As NONGSHIM will try to pick up the scraps here, but they got to be careful with KT breathing down their throat from the river. They want to get UCal.
He's got flash.
And then back away. He's also got the stopwatch here, and they may have just overstayed their welcome, even with the Drake. They got to be careful here, as Bay's going to go down, so will Kellen. And again, take a look at this. I mean, even Duckdom doesn't have the damage to do to Doran. Even sitting there for 5 seconds, hitting into him. But I suppose at the end of the day, they didn't lose enough to, lose inhibitors, but at least they do pick up that Ocean Drake.
Yeah, UCal was in the perfect place, actually. You know, if you just took a screenshot of the moment, right, with all the items not shown, it looks like, okay, well, he's definitely just going to be a kill on the way out, but he had flash, and as you mentioned, he had the stopwatch as well, so just he knew that he could actually be the buffer to guarantee that they'd close the gap here. So what happens, obviously, at the beginning of the fight is Rich, you know, after he goes in and then out, he's the target they collapse on here because there's just too much poke damage otherwise after Peanut's steal. So Peanut gets the steal. It's so close, too.
Yeah, I mean, Bonnie's not even in the pit, so...
I love that Doran just gets out as we're going to have Zeus die here.
Oh.
But I love that they actually had the full understanding of, okay, if we collapse on the Rich and get out of this pit, that's our best chance, instead of just waiting for the stopwatch of Peanut to expire. Zonia's actually in this case. And then trying to win that fight, but actually kind of cutting NONGSHIM in half was the smarter way. They do lose the soul, of course. But we've had a lot of games actually in this tournament where one team gets no Drakes but still wins the game. It's actually happened quite a lot. Uh-oh, Weaver's Wall cutting them off.
Yeah, I think Rich might just be dead. He'll look to try to turn this one, as you do on the Aatrox. We saw some crazy Aatrox turns yesterday, 1v5, but not this time around. Talia and Victor are going to be really good at keeping him in range, so not really able to lock that one down, but trade a death on your team for a turret up on the top side. It's not the end of the world.
Pretty nice. 700 gold bounty at the moment for Doran was quite a big one. Definitely, you know, raising questions about whether he'll ever die this game, win or lose for KT.
Yeah,
but
I don't think he will.
He's not going to get any of those Cloud Drakes, at least for NONGSHIM's sake, you know? They made sure of that, thanks to Peanut.
Yeah.
Some vision taken back away here from the red side jungle, away from KT. There's only, you know, there's a full 90 seconds before we're going to get into that Baron skirmish. And right now, they're just side laning as best as they can, and NONGSHIM is not able to do anything with the Drake advantage they have, unfortunately, and because they lost so much control over their jungle, because of that last fight, they've had to kind of be on cleanup duty, vision cleanup duty, as well as these waves now.
It's insane how much anti-healing you have to buy nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like it's, you know, they have Nidalee, but Nidalee can just wait for the healing to kind of go away, the anti-healing to go away, and then use her heal. But for the active healing of the Aatrox, who does it while he's in the fight, they have 3 separate items.
Yeah. The Oblivion Orb coming in as well, you know, and the Morellonomicon as well. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Executioner's calling for Doran. They really want to make sure that we don't have any 1v5 Aatrox business again.
Doran is 3 levels up, and he's like, Rich, I am sorry. You're not going to get these minions. Not while I'm here.
Yeah.
You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to walk back to that turret. Really nice grab on the scuttle, actually, for Peanut in this. And looks like KT just weren't focused on that location at the time. So they actually will have that permanent vision of the Baron now. That spawns in 4 seconds. They'll have positional advantage, but with all the wards and the scuttle, NONGSHIM at least has tons of information about how they want to play around this engage. There's just no way to remove that. It would have healed Doran, though, I think, at this stage.
Yeah,
Spirit Visage and everything else.
Like, whatever. Should have just walked into it to assert dominance, as you do. Peanut, you know, he's getting feisty. He's getting into these brushes, trying to gather some position, some space for his team.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these fights have been about the chip damage that comes through before KT actually get to take the fight they want. But unfortunately, it's just not hitting any of these. But they do push KT back for the moment.
Now, KT do have some poke of their own with the Victor, but I feel like it's a little bit more reliable on the side of NONGSHIM, with the Aphelios especially. If he has that long-range gun,
100%.
the Calibrim kind of just begin to poke you out. And with 4 items here, I mean, we're 31 minutes into the game, 3-4 items, he can begin to do some insane damage.
Just got to keep Doran away.
Oh, boy.
Zeus is coming in.
Yeah, trying to get in there. Peanut on the opposite side, but that's okay. They're actually protecting the side of NONGSHIM, and Zeus is trapped in there with all of NONGSHIM, and here comes that ultimate. Does about negative damage to Doran, but they found Bonnie on the top side. He has to flash away. A nice idea from KT, but the execution wasn't there. And NONGSHIM, very calm and collectedly able to push them away.
And this is going to be really rough. They don't have Zeus. He's rushing back as fast as he can from spawn. Just got to heal up.
Yeah.
And
nice position here from Kellen as well. Always threatening big shockwave. There's that poke damage coming out. Now Doran's all alone, trying to just push Kellen away. They're going to have to give away this Elder Drake after a series of unfortunate engagements from the side of KT.
Bonnie is like, I better get out of here real quick. Well, I mean, the Elder Drake means they get a Baron as well, almost 100%, but can you give this as KT? I don't think they have a choice. They're just going to, I mean, they have all their inhibitor turrets up. This Baron doesn't, you know, win the game for NONGSHIM per se, but what do you do here now as KT Rolster? Because you ended up failing your gamble with the big Zeus flank that we're going to get a replay of here. Zeus just walks around the edge, and everyone just instantly reacts. Look at this, backing up. Then the blade goes wide, but there's just no follow-up. The Weaver's Wall has some anti-synergy here. And
the Weaver's Wall has to be cutting you off south of the Raptors there. It can't, it can't just cut off all of KT from Zeus,
Doran's
right?
like, okay, well, I guess I Dominatus for nothing.
If you deny them going west into the red side jungle, then Zeus has the whole lane to push whoever he wants into the rest of the team to get stunned by Doran and immediately blown up by the Victor and the KeSPA. But instead, the wall is just like, no, you know, actually, sorry, Zeus. You're just, you know, basically dead. You're out of the fight. And it was a pretty messy flank engage there that gave NONGSHIM the entire map, essentially. And yeah, I mean, that's the way they kind of have to do it. They have to get those hard engages. They got to get the KeSPA into the back line, the Renekton frontlining, essentially, but that wasn't it.
This feels like NONGSHIM just trying to choke KT out of the game. Weaver's Wall is the saddest thing I've ever seen, but it's going to be pretty effective for a little while. It's slowing this down. Slowing down what feels like the inevitable in this potentially upcoming fight. Like, maybe Bay, who's, you know, very isolated here. That could be Doran's target, but if he collapses in and they just back up, then he's by himself. I mean, this is a pretty lose-lose-lose situation. It looks like two inhibitors, no matter what, and possibly just the game here. KT has to engage somehow, or they will just straight up lose.
I mean, they still have the Elder, they still have the Baron. We don't have the timers up here on the screen, but you can see the buffs that they do have, and it is just really difficult for KT to find any kind of engage. Zeus going to be poked out, Doran as well, pushed away. Ultimate will sail wide from Duckdom. As you can see, slow and steady is the pace here. Doran going to try to force this one. Hybrid has to flash away as Doran is trying to go 1v4, but he cannot do it. Hybrid able to pick off one member, but in goes Rich, trying to get him in the back line and creating enough chaos to eventually get Zeus. All the while, the Nexus goes down, and NONGSHIM able to steal the game away from KT in this one, taking the lead 1-0.
Definitely feels like KT lost that game more than NONGSHIM won it. The Zeus wraparound being a really risky play that could have actually secured them, the Elder and the Baron themselves, but with the Weaver's Wall follow-up, that made it impossible for them to follow up, and not to mention that the timing of when Zeus came in and where everyone was standing just didn't favor them. It was scary. It felt like NONGSHIM, because they had Peanut on the Nidalee and how much poke damage they were tossing into all these fights with Nidalee and Orianna, it felt like KT had to do something like that to win the fight. Otherwise, they were just getting pushed away. They had vision control and they had positional advantages, but still, with the scuttle going up, they're like, every time I stand around Baron, spears are hitting us. And it felt like that was what they decided was their best bet to try to take an engagement and win a big team fight. But, you know, down 4 Drakes, you can't blame them for making a play like that. But the execution, like you said, was a little off, and that was it. I mean, that was the game. So
it's weird to see a game kind of thrown away like that with just one kind of misplaced Weaver's Wall. It doesn't happen that often. But as you mentioned, it felt a little desperate. You know, like the idea was there in their mind. They're getting poked out. They have a lot of hard engage. If they can force their way onto the back line with their massive Renekton, they're probably going to win. And as long as they execute that decently well, they probably would have won. But it's like they tried to force it right before the Elder Drake comes up, and it was not really in the best spot. And obviously we talked about the execution with the Weaver's Wall. But, maybe they should have just tried to get position on the river, force NONGSHIM to come into them and then set up some kind of flank, keep Alistair in a side brush or something. But they were a little bit too quick to pull the trigger. The execution wasn't there, and in the span of like 3 minutes, the game was over.
Yeah.
By just one wrong play.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could have definitely tried to wait out the storm and kind of hunker down against the pokes we were seeing. And maybe, they have that Renekton engage based on a mistake. But, I mean, just trying to force it that way didn't end up working out, obviously. So, otherwise, it was a really good game from KT Rolster. We saw the, really nice rotations from Bonnie into the top lane. Rich got dominated again and then won the game. That's kind of been the story of him in this tournament.
Better top lane wins.
Better top lane wins. And, we saw really good plays in the early game. With KT, they utilized their comp really well. They had some really nice trades in the bot lane as well, punishing Kellen oftentimes for overextending. We're going to see one of these fights coming up here, but this is actually when UCal steps over the line. They end up turning this into a really nice exchange, though, all things considered.
Yeah, you see that Shockwave keeps Bonnie and Doran back, and Hybrid goes all in with, 3-7 offsuit or something, if I could make a poker reference. It's not what you want to be going all in with. Not at that point in the game, at least.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of what kept NONGSHIM in the game. That was like one of the turning moments that made the game even though KT had a fantastic early game, as you mentioned. And we had a lot of skirmishes like this where it was pretty close, actually.
Yeah, this one was crazy. This is the one where UCal puts the damage off here, then gets jumped onto by Kellen and walks away, and then we see the crazy chase from Hybrid, where he is ready to just, he's ready to win the game right here. He's going to Killer Instinct in a million miles away and flash over the wall. And yeah, they definitely should have seen him go over the wall there.
Yeah.
They might not have been looking at that exact moment, but they definitely should have known that Doran was here. He ends up getting another traded into KT's favor, and Duck Dom looking for the red dots. A little bit overextended. This was the trade where Zeus is just make sure nobody can jump in for the steal. I think that was a pretty solid play there.
Yeah.
Solid move.
Nice steal here from Peanut. You see Bonnie is in the brush on the right side there, not even in range, I don't think, of the smite. He was pretty close, but didn't expect Peanut to come in from that angle that fast.
And they just collapse onto Rich here instead of trying to chase in onto the low health Peanut at the time, and he's obviously healing up in this fight. And UCal is sitting here with the stopwatch, so he's not afraid of where he's at in this fight. Just use that when Kellen dives in. And then you see the whole collapse in. Doran is like, okay, Kellen is dead, right? But I want Duck Dom. Doesn't get him when he's able to. Yeah. He's like, all right, Kellen, well, I knew you were, I just had you sit down there for a second.
Here it is.
This is the big play.
See, if you do it to the left of where Duck Dom is right now, you at least trap someone on the right side. And you have Zeus on the same side of the wall as your team. So you can bounce someone back. And, Doran will stun. Hybrid and UCal are right there to burst whoever it is. Because he had many choices, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was like Bay there, there's Duck Dom right there. The idea is good, but the execution not quite good.
Yeah, in fact, he cut his team out of the picture there. He was like, yeah, it was almost if that was a solo queue game, you'd almost be wondering like, okay, he's mad at the Alistair in this game. Like he's trying to block him in there with the rest of the team. Well, very much a close game. Good start for KT Rolster, but in the end, better late game decision making, better Drake control with Nidalee, who was being totally a farm jungle this game, controlling the jungle and controlling those Drakes throughout the entire mid game.
He's focused on his jungle. That's what his job was going to be in that one, and did it pretty well at the end of the day. Got that steal as well. But guys, that is 1-0 now for NONGSHIM in this best of 5. We'll see who will take set 2 after a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.